All right. Hello, everyone. Very good evening to all of you, amazing delegates of Hearts MUN 2026. My name is Prashant, and some of you have met me, some of you may be seeing me for the first time. It's an absolute pleasure to get a chance to see all of you in the chat box, albeit. And welcome to the Hearts MUN 2026 conference. So, I have three questions for you before we begin. Question number one is, if you can see and hear me, I want you to put a thumbs up emoji. That is the first question that I have. If you're able to see me and you're able to hear me, you guys could put up a thumbs up emoji or let me know in the chat box, whichever one is more convenient. I see many of you are putting in the chat box. Fair enough. The second thing I want to know from all of you is, if are you all excited as all of us for Hearts MUN 2026? If that is the case, I would like to see some hearts in the chat box or in the emojis. If the excitement level is equal between all of us, I would like to see some of them hearts for Hearts MUN 2026. Absolutely fantastic. So, thank you for the wonderful response. Thank you for clarifying the fact that you could see and hear me. And once again, welcome to Hearts MUN 2026. And more importantly, welcome to the first training session of Hearts MUN 2026 as well. So, today, what I want to do is, apart from a few points of the rules of procedure, we're going to be spending some time together, right, over the next 3 days. So I've noticed, when I filtered out all the registrants for our conference this year, I noticed a lot of first timers at the conference. A lot of students and parents alike have taken the initiative to enroll themselves or their wards for Hearts MUN 2026, and I'm sure on your delegate groups and over the WhatsApp conversations we've been having, you would have received your allocations, a copy of the procedure, you would have received, research material, and you would have got a plethora of information that is applicable to you, for the conference at large. So what I want to spend, at the better part of today's session is not going through just the explanation of the rules of procedure, but I quite honestly want to give you guys some guidance on how you go about preparing for the conference. Rules of procedure is something that we use on the days of the conference, in our committee sessions, in our discussions, in our deliberations. However, when it comes to the preparation, since we have an entire 3 or 4 days, I'm sure you all would be preparing on your portfolios as well. So in lieu of that preparation is a few points I want to share with you today. So the first thing that I want to tell you, most importantly, if this is your first MUN conference, I want you all to know one thing, that it is natural for some of us to feel nervous. Even I was. Even I was. It's not that we are going for a rocket science competition or something like that. It's an experience. And more importantly, it's a practical experience. As much time as I spend with you, as much time as you do your research, the true essence of Model United Nations as a conference, as a platform, as a concept lies in its practical experience of it. And even if it is your first time, remember, every experienced delegate, every best delegate winner, and every executive board member also was once just like you, who walked into their very first committee without knowing what point of order is and what speech or how they need to speak or address in the conference. Let me tell you, that is absolutely and perfectly normal. It is absolutely and perfectly normal. So don't worry about being perfect. Your goal in your first conference is very simple: learn, participate, and enjoy the experience. If you are going to do these three things, please remember you have already succeeded, and you already have that asterisk of being an MUNer on your mantles as well. So, what is MUN? MUN, as you know, is a simulation of the United Nations. We are representing different countries, different portfolios, sitting with other students, and we're working towards solving a number of local, national, and international issues. So, a few points I want you to note, and if you like, you could make notes in your notebook or on your computer notepad or wherever you feel applicable. But these are few points I want you to know. The first thing is you are not representing yourself, you are representing a country, which in a nutshell basically means your and my personal opinions may be one thing. But when we are representing a country, our personal opinions do not matter in these committees. It is the country's perspective that matters. Your country's foreign policy matters. You need to think not from your own personal perspective, but as a diplomat of the assigned country or portfolio you've received. So, this one thing you must keep in mind at all points of time. Very, very important. The second thing I want to highlight, what makes a good delegate? I mean, we all talk about preparation, we all talk about being delegates, we all talk about I've been to 20, 30, 50 MUNs, but what makes a good delegate? Many students think, that MUN is about speaking fluent English or in a nutshell, public speaking. But that isn't true. The best delegates are, who? These are those who know the country's position, the country's stance, the ones that listen carefully. See, MUN is not only about your speech and my speech and how we are speaking, but it's also about listening. It's about respecting others. It's about thinking logically. It's about working with other people. And it's about offering solution. These are the qualities that make a good delegate. Confidence comes later. Preparation comes first. So don't be under the impression that, oh, I'm not such a great speaker. You have to be a great listener. You have to be a great critical thinker. You need to think logically. You need to work. Like how you have a group activity, you need to work as a group. That's what basically makes a group a good delegate. How you should prepare. What is your preparation in this entire process? The first thing, my dear friends, is reading the study guide. The study guide is your starting point. To be very honest with you, the study guide is your starting point. Read it completely. Go through it completely. Don't memorize it. As I have told many of you during my orientation sessions, if you would have been part of it, MUN is not about by hearting anything. Don't memorize it. Understand it. Understand the problem. Which you're getting a guide, you're getting an understanding, you're getting a historic perspective. What are the points that have led to such issues? Understand the thing, read it. And this guide will tell you the background of the issue. What exactly, like we delve into this issue, what exactly is the cause, root cause, background of this issue, the timeline of events that has led to the different issues that are being discussed, certain key terms, like jargons, which again, you don't need to buy heart. You can access your study guide even at the conference. What are the previous actions the United Nations has taken in the past? Who are the major stakeholders? Means who are the different countries involved? Who are the different, foreign diplomats, just like you involved in this? And what are the questions and solutions to consider? This is what will give you an insight into your study guide. So, your first step, my dear friends, is to go through the guide. You go through the guide without memorizing it to get a deep insight into what your agenda is, to understand it, is what we want you to do. Step two. Step two is to research about your country. Remember, at the end of the day, you are representing X country, I am representing Y country, somebody else is Z, somebody else is B, somebody else is C, and somebody else is F. So everybody is representing their own country. We've all got a common study guide for our agenda. We've all taken step one and gone through the agenda, through the study guide rather. After going through the study guide, my friends, what you need to do is you need to research. Google, when we find something interesting on Amazon or we see something interesting on Instagram, we always Google things, right? Okay, where can I get this? What is this? I want to know more about it in detail. Same way, very simply, research about your country or your portfolio. If you're not representing a country, you're representing a person, a portfolio. So research about your country, research about your portfolio, get an understanding, like a basic information to begin with. What is your capital of your country? What is the population of your country? How is the economy of your country? What is the government of your country? And most importantly, who are your allies? Who are your friends? These are basically pointers of what you should do when it comes to researching on your country. A generic note on your first page of your own research should be the few statistics and few highlights of the country or portfolio you have been allocated. You then delve a little deeper into more agenda specific research, means how your country is involved with this agenda that we are discussing. So, what is your country's position? Is it for the topic? Is it against the topic? Is it neutral? What is your country's position in this entire scenario? This is the agenda specific research point I'm talking to you about. The second thing in this agenda specific research is, has your country supported or opposed this issue? Now, say for example, taking the Iran crisis, there are countries that support USA, there are countries that do not support USA, and vice versa. So, how is your country supported or opposed the agenda or issue at hand? What are the different statements that different people have made? What are the different, actions or addresses or speeches or directives or press releases that important diplomats, presidents, prime ministers of different countries, what have they contributed, what is their stance, what are they looking at, and how they are looking at the problem you are discussing should also be researched. Then what actions have already been taken? Now many a times you would notice that there are already discussions happening, correct, already solutions being formed in different places. So what are the actions that have already been taken? This comes under your agenda specific research. So the first thing you do, again, just to summarize, research, go through the guide, don't memorize it, understand the problem, absorb the problem. It's a genuine problem, bro. You need to find a solution to it. So first you must understand the problem. Once you understand the problem by going through the guide at length, then you can delve into how your country is associated with it. What is your country? What is its capital? What is its population? What is its government? Who are their friends? And your agenda specific research on your country's position, on your country's stance, for, against, neutral. What all things have happened regarding this agenda about your country as well as other countries. Now, where will you find this information? You will be wondering, bro, I will search on Google, but in Google I get 100 pages. So from these 100 pages, which one will I know that is the correct, that is authentic information, reliable information? So there are a list of things you can go through. You can go through UN websites, you can go through government websites. Every country has a Ministry of Foreign Affairs with their publications out there. There are few reputed the few reputed agencies, news agencies like the Reuters and the BBC. You have the World Bank that also documents a lot. You have the WHO, UNICEF, whichever committee you are in, they also have the documentation and research as well, and also your CIA World Factbook. So don't only rely, don't rely on blogs and AI summaries of different things. Verify the information. I'm not against the concept of using AI. Don't get me wrong, but you must understand, even in AI, they tell us, right, that AI is prone to making mistakes. What is the sources of information is very important. Showing me an Instagram reel that is AI generated does not make it a reality. So the information in your step 2 of preparation, when you are going about researching, those should be very reliable sources, is all that I'm trying to highlight. Always verify, my friends, always verify. The next thing I want you to do is, I want you to prepare a country profile which you will use even later at your general speakers list address inside committee. Now, what do I mean by country's profile? What do I mean by country's profile? Country's profile means, what's the name of your country? Okay, which is the capital of your country? Who is your current leader, prime minister, president? Very important. Who is your foreign minister of your country? Because as much as we may think that, oh my god, we have Prime Minister Modi out here, yes, he is very much the prime minister and face of India, but the people who actually deal with international issues when it comes to the United Nations and even other international bodies are essentially the foreign ministers of different countries. So find out who that foreign minister is, what is the GDP, what is the population, a list of allies, a list of enemies. Enemies also as equivalent important as allies as well. What are the key interests of your country? Three major facts about your country that makes it stand out and make it stand out specially. And most importantly, what is your country stand on the agenda? This is basically what you call a country profile. This will give you a one-page document which you will research and complete insight into who your country is, what it stands for, and who are the people involved, and what is the current situation in your country as we speak today. This is when it comes to your country profile. Now, remember, when you are going to be speaking, when you are going to be speaking, it's not just a public speaking competition. There should be a structure, there should be a format on when you address your committee, when you engage with the different delegates. There has to be a structure to it. Of course, you will start respectfully with greetings and salutations. You will highlight your country's concerns, that hey, you know what, so many abc xyz problems are happening because of this, what your current stance is. And also I want you to just mention one or two proposed solutions. This is your gsm. And of course, a word of gratitude and thank you for your entire committee and your chairpersons as well. Don't memorize it word for word, okay? Is my honest, humble request to you. Most people, what I have observed over the last 15 years of MUN, is people are either having something drafted on AI or having something drafted by their teachers, sisters, or parents, and simply they're putting the head down and they are reading it out in a monologue. You see, when you do that, no, every word of your speech will be absolutely perfect. But let me assure you, there will be no impact of your address. So speak naturally, be yourself. It's we're not here for an elocution competition. We're here to communicate, deliberate, debate, and solve. So don't be under the impression of by hearting some address and coming here. Speak as naturally as you can. Another thing I want to tell you is think of statistics. Okay. At the end of the day, the world works on numbers, no matter be it international issues or whatever it is. Prepare few key statistics. For example, number of affected people by the issue, what are the economic losses that have been incurred, a series of UN reports, some relevant resolutions that have taken place, and also certain recent developments. These statistics, when you share, always make your address a little stronger. When you are speaking in the committee, you don't need to by heart anything. Have your iPads with you, or your computers or laptops with you, your notes with you, whatever it is that you want to refer to at any point of time. But only request is don't just look at a paper and read. Make pointers, refer to the pointers, but speak naturally. This is what I want you to do. Now, I'll tell you another thing, my friends, I wanted to share with you all today. The thing I wanted to share with you all today, most people, when they come for MUN conferences, and many beginners only explain problems. Many beginners only explain problems. The good delegates and the best delegates are the ones who solves them. So, whatever issue your agenda may be, local, national, international, irrespective, ask yourself, what should the UN do? If you are the Secretary General, if you are the ultimate deciding authority of the United Nations, what would the United Nations do? What do you think the United Nations should do? Think of things like funding, think of things like technology, think of things like international cooperation, awareness campaigns, capacity building, monitoring mechanisms, education, sanctions also. What is happening with US and Iran right now? Sanctions as well, and even on India as well. So these are few things that you must think of being a delegate as well. It's not just explaining the problem and debating the problem. That's a very vital aspect of it. But a good delegate really solves these problems, does not only bring about problems. This is basically what you must keep in mind. During your committee sessions, though, I want you to remember four very important things. Four very important things. What are these four very important things? The first one is listen. You see, most delegates, most delegates, most delegates, they're so focused on delivering their own speech, their own address. The only thing that they think of is about their speech and their address. What they forget to do is listen to what the other delegates have to say. That is a very, very quintessential part of MUN, which many people forget to do. So, listening is as important, if not as important as speaking. Write notes, make notes. You'll be given a conference kit. So you'll have a notepad in that conference kit. Note down. certain pointers. Some other delegate would have said something. You might want to reply to it. You cannot reply to it immediately. You can reply to it at a later time. You can bring it up at a later time. Make notes. Raise your placard. Point number 3, raise your placard. Speak whenever you get an opportunity. You do not need to speak perfectly. You need to contribute. Please understand, MUN is not an elocution competition. You're here to address a problem. You're not here to deliver a stanza or two stanza of roll down. So speak whenever you get the chance. Don't think, oh, this person speaks better than me, or that person speaks doesn't speak at all. Don't worry about anybody else. This is the problem. A solution needs to be given. So long as you can speak in a language which people can understand, which I'm assuming is English, that is enough. You don't need to do a poetry stanza out here. But speak whenever you get the opportunity. It is very, 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 very important. You need to contribute. The biggest mistake actually beginners make, in my opinion, the biggest mistake is remaining silent, because sometimes we feel overwhelmed. Right? 5 6 experienced people around us, oh, they're speaking so well, debating so hard, everything. Let me tell you one thing very honestly. Your first speech will not be perfect. Let me assure you on this. Your first speech will not be perfect. But let me also assure you on another thing. Your second speech will be better. And your third one will be even better. Let me tell you, the truth is confidence will only grow as you experience and as you speak. The first time, I want you to make a mental note, the first time you speak in your committee at Hearts MUN'26 and the last time you speak in your committee at Hearts MUN'2026, I want to assure you, you will see a drastic change in your confidence and ability to engage. So don't be afraid. Don't be silent in one corner. Stand up, speak up. Another thing I want to tell you is to network. Okay, please network. Talk to delegates during breaks. What we generally do, is we are sitting in classrooms or committees with students from other schools. Some of our best friends from our original school are not there only. So what we do during the lunch and high tea, we go running to our school friends who we know from the start. Avoid doing that. They are also there only in the conference. They're not leaving you or doing anything different. But instead of that, talk to the other delegates of your committee during breaks. Go and join discussions. Go and introduce yourself. Exchange ideas. Believe it or not, in the space of innovativeness and creativity, so many friendships begin at MUNs. And you know what they begin with? With an intellectual benchmark as opposed to anything else. You have something to talk about, you have something to discuss about, exchange ideas, network with other delegates. Is really, really important for you to do that. So this is what, few things I want you to do on one day before the conference. What you should do, don't begin researching the night before. Just go through, like, scan through whatever it is. Organize yourself, document yourself, keep everything in a particular structure, and make a checklist. Can be read your study guide one final time, can be go through your country's research, probably go and deliver your opening address, general speakers list to your mother, father, brother or sister. Keep all your research in one folder. Highlight, use a highlighter, maybe in highlight important statistics with the annotation tools. Go through the procedure once. Keep your electronic devices charged. Carry your charger, power bank. uh, Avoid printing documents, I would say. Have them downloaded in soft copy. Check the venue, check your reporting time. Plan your travel so you arrive on time and don't miss out on anything. And most importantly, two things: get a water bottle with you. Everything will be provided. There are water coolers everywhere. Carry a water bottle with you. We don't believe in using plastic, but there will be coolers available for you to refill at all times. And most importantly, get a good night's sleep. And that's basically how you actually prepare, in a nutshell, for an MUN conference. So it's really that simple. It's not as hard as what people make it out to be. If you follow the certain pointers and guidance that I'm sharing with you right now, in the process that I'm sharing to you right now, it will be really helpful to you. So these are few things I wanted to share with to all the first time participants of Hearts MUN. It's a conference that's been happening from the last 3 years. This year being a fourth, yet we have so many newcomers at it. So please keep in mind the few points I have shared. This video, of course, will also be saved. It can also be accessed afterwards as well, so you can kind of scan through the duration of the video and essentially pick out the different tips or points or steps that I've told you in terms of your preparation. So this is how you prepare. Now let's move on to the rules of procedure. Okay, let me just also get the document open out here so I don't miss out on any point, although I know it by heart. So when it comes to the rules of procedure, you guys should also have a copy of this with you, not compulsory, but if you guys could have a copy with you as well, it would be helpful. So now that we're talking about rules of procedure, the Hearts MUN rules of procedure, there are in total 25 points. Of course, we're going to cover not all of them today, maybe a handful of 7, 8 points, because we still have 2 more days and I don't want to, overburden you with information. I want to take it step by step. So, a certain direction and, performances will reflect from your end. So let's begin with the rules of procedure. First things first, rules of procedure is, it's not, how do you say, Hitler's handbook. Okay. It is basically a structure and format that will enable all you different delegates to come here, talk, engage, speak, and move towards a solution oriented resolution. That's what the rules of procedure is. Because I know as Gen Z and Gen A, when we hear the word rules, we think, oh my God, we have to follow, we have to follow. Yes, we have to follow. No doubt out there. But these rules have been created not to put a leash on you or to restrict you, but these rules have been created to give you direction, give you purpose, and give you progress in your discussions and solutions. So when I talk about rules of procedure, this is what I mean by rules of procedure. I don't mean a physics definition. I don't mean that, oh, we're going to ask you to copy paste this rule or explain this rule at length. These rules are for your understanding, to help the committee benefit towards solution making. That is why rules of procedure is created. A copy of this procedure should be handy with you at all times at the conference as well. So when you want to speak something, you simply match the following with the rule in the rules of procedure and use that process which will help you communicate in a structured and organized manner in your committee as well. So today I want to cover a few rules as well also. If some of you all have it open, great. If some of you all don't have it open, I will read out the rule prior to explaining it. So we first start with the first subparts of the general rules. It's called delegate representation. All delegates will be representing one country or portfolio and will have one vote on all voting matters as mentioned in this procedure. Now, what does this term essentially mean? What does this term mean? Delegate representation means each one of us individually have been allocated a country, or we've allocated a portfolio in a particular committee based on our preference. Inside your committees, there will be anywhere between 30 to 35 delegates in all committees. Now, whether you are a P5 country like a USA, or whether you are a small country like a Micronesia, each country, irrespective of its strength, power, influence, whatever, every country is considered equal in the United Nations, and every country has a vote for all voting matters. How in our school, when our session started a few months back, we had student council and we would vote for head boy, we would vote for head girl, we would vote for cultural secretary, we would vote for house leader, sports leader, X person, Y person. Everything was voted upon. Believe it or not, even in the United Nations and any democratic body, it functions the same way. So my dear friends, remember, Just because the delegate of United States of America is beside you, or the delegate of Micronesia is beside you, everyone's vote is equal, and everyone's vote has an equal impact also. It's not that my country is a more powerful country, so I will have a different gift or special power like Marvel. So delegate representation basically in a nutshell means what? Each one of us are given a country to represent, each one of or a portfolio, irrespective of our country or portfolio, we are all given one vote on all voting matters. This is what it means. Because inside the United Nations and inside this model United Nations concept, everything is democratic in nature. Everything goes through a vote. Everything. Whether you like it or I like it or somebody does not like it, everything goes through a vote. Because the United Nations was created to make consensus. Consensus means get everybody on the same page. And that is why whatever needs to be done in committee, you want to discuss a particular issue, okay, we will discuss it, we will vote for it. You want to, point out this solution, implement X solution that somebody's come up with, great, you might have a fantastic solution, but it needs to be voted upon. So this basically has a level playing field. It has a space where everybody is equal, and it has a space where the best solution or the best proposals essentially win the bargain when it comes to MUN at large. So this is basically what delegate representation means. Communication languages. The committees at Hearts MUN 2026 will recognize only English as the official language for verbal and written communications. Any other language can be permitted as per the discretion of your executive board member. Sometimes what happens in national committees, at state committees like the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly, may be allowed to speak in Tamil, no problem. But ideally, the permission should go via your chairperson, and most importantly, English would always be a more preferable form of communication for this conference, as we are all coming from that background of institutions and families that I'm sure have a decent understanding of the English language as well. So, your communication language, as per point number 2 in your rules of procedure, is about your official language for verbal and written communication that will be recognized as English. Electronic devices, point number 3. Electronic devices. You are allowed to use electronic equipment. Mobile phones, laptops, and tablets, they are very, very much allowed. Yes, please use them. But only for matters pertaining to your committee and agenda. You see, if you are going to be misusing, you know why in our schools they don't allow us sometimes for mobile phones, laptops, and tablets and tell you to keep it away? Because we get carried away, we use it, maybe browse social media, maybe sit and watch reels, maybe watch some YouTube videos, some of us play PUBG. It's very much fun. Even I also do the same. I'm not denying it. All I'm trying to say is for those few hours over the period of the 2 days of our committee discussions, if we are giving you, if we are giving you a free hand into using the electronic equipment, we want you to reciprocate by being mature and using it for the right reasons, which is only in relation to your committee and agenda. Also, the the electronic devices during committee proceedings will be at the discretion of the executive board. Like your chairperson and vice chair, co-chairperson will inform you that okay, you are allowed to use electronic devices at this point of time. Otherwise, what will happen? Everybody will be sitting on the laptops and nobody will be engaging. So there will be certain times it's allowed, certain times they will not be allowed, and your moderator, who is your executive board, your chairperson or co-chairperson, will guide you and will inform you on when you can use it. The fourth point I want to bring about today is about decorum. You see, we are coming to a conference where there are 1,000 Gen Zs and Gen As together from over 50 schools. It's a very beautiful space and a very beautiful place for young minds from across our city of Chennai to come together. But sometimes what happens in a pool full of people, there are always people who misbehave. So that is why this point is there in the rules of procedure. You need to maintain a certain level of decorum during your time at this conference. Remember, you're not coming in as a 6th standard, 7th standard, 8th standard student. You're not coming in as a humanities or commerce or science student. You are being given the voice of a country. You are representing yourself. You are representing your school. You're representing your families. So, when you come here, I want you to behave yourself in a mature way. I want you to carry yourself in a mature way. I want you to have fun. Don't get me wrong. But please behave yourself. Any unparliamentary behavior will result in temporary suspension. And if the behavior is really bad, then it can also result in permanent suspension from the conference. Permanent suspension till date, touch wood, God's grace, has never happened in the past, and I'm sure with all of you wonderful students, it will not happen this year as well. But the reason this point is there, my friends, is because sometimes, when we are in deep debates, deep discussions, deep deliberations, heavy debates on particular issues, we sometimes tend to lose our cool. It is nothing, it's not your fault, it is human nature. All I'm trying to tell you is that now you know about it, keep a tab on it, because you cannot use any you know, verbal abuses, objectifying of anyone, any personal remarks. That's not fair to anyone. So, only humble request is behave maturely, carry yourself well, and have a certain level of standard and decorum while you are at the conference. This is what basically your fourth point called decorum essentially is. Now, there's something called roll call in the fifth point. Roll call. What is roll call? Much like your school, we come to school every morning. Some of us have assembly, some of us don't have assembly. But eventually, we go to our classrooms and we have a class teacher. And the class teacher calls out our names or they call out our roll numbers, and we raise our hand and say, "Present, sir, present, ma'am." The usual routine that we get into every time when we get to school. So, similarly to that, in an MUN conference and even in the actual United Nations for that matter, there is quite literally an attendance and roll call that is taken. And much like that, it will happen at Hearts MUN 2026 at your first committee session that would be on Saturday the 29th. So, what is this roll call? It's a very simple formal process that at the beginning of the sessions, the executive board member, means your chairperson, who's like your moderator or like your elder brother or elder sister who is very experienced in MUN there to guide you, he or she will take the name of every nation: Australia, Bahrain, Canada, Denmark, Egypt, France, and as a delegate you need to respond with either present or present and voting. Now, when I say present means yes, I am present in committee. Okay, fine, great. Present and voting is what I want you to say. Why? Because when you say present and voting, you are going to be exercising that right. You are going to be exercising. You are going to be exercising your right to vote on all voting matters pertaining to your committee. So basically, what you need to do in very simple terms, when it comes to roll call, you have given a portfolio, your allotment. That allotment, when you hear it, simply raise your placard and say present and voting. That's about it. This is essentially what your roll call is. It is equivalent to the attendance your class teacher takes when you go to your respective school on a normal day in school. So this is essentially what your roll call essentially means. The next point I want to talk about is something called informal voting. Informal voting. If you remember, the first point that I had shared, delegate representation, where I mentioned what we are representing a country or portfolio individually ourselves, and we are given a right to vote on all voting matters. There are two types of voting. The first one is called informal voting, which is used 99% of the times. And then there is formal voting, which is only used for your final resolution. Only for your final resolution. So 99% of time during your committee session, you will be going through something called informal voting, which basically means what? Whoever it is that wants to do whatever they want to do in the committee. They want to do moderated caucus, they want to challenge, they want to do question answer, they want to do debate, they want unmoderated caucus, whatever anyone wants to do in committee always will go through the process of informal voting. This is essentially what informal voting is. Everything goes through informal voting, no matter what it is, apart from your resolution. What is informal voting? Simple majority. Simple majority. Like how, say, for example, can we create a poll out here? Okay. I am creating a poll in the chat box. What do you prefer? Prefer? That is what we will have today. So the first option, what is your dinner preference? For dinner, pizza or pasta? I have put up a poll in the chat box. We have X number of people out here. We are X number of people out here. And we see people voting out here. Currently, the majority, if you see, as we are sitting together right now and discussing this, as you can see, people are voting, and the majority, 71% of us, are with pizza. Because who doesn't like pizza? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, pasta is also nice, but of course, pizza is better. So, as you can see, 67% of the 173 people out here have voted for pizza. This, my friends, is an example of informal voting. So, whatever needs to be done in the committee will be proposed in the committee. And just like how we voted for pizza or pasta, we will vote. Should we do it? Yes. Or should we not do it? No. And based on the majority, now we are 68%. Naturally, that is majority. If it was not 68%, then it would be minority and we would be having pasta. So, what is informal voting? Informal voting is a simple majority of decisions that your committee has taken. If more than 50% people think that, okay, we should do X thing in committee, or okay, we should have pizza today for dinner, if more than 50% say yes, then of course, we will all have pizza for dinner. And if less than 50% people say, then of course, we cannot have pizza for dinner. That's how informal voting works. That's how your committee works. So everything in 35 of y'all are there in a committee, 35 of y'all are there in a classroom, 35 portfolios, 35 diplomats, 35 leaders, everything is gone to vote. More than 50% needs to agree and be on the same page for anything to be done in committee. This, my dear friends, is what is informal voting. And as I explained to you in point number 1, everyone's vote is equal. It's not that your vote and my vote is different because our countries are different. The vote is equal. This essentially, my friends, is what is informal voting. And the United Nations and MUN, being a consent-oriented platform, a consensual-oriented organization structure, everything goes through this informal voting apart from your resolution. This, my friends, is what is called informal voting, simple majority. Here we clicked on the correct button of pizza and pasta to vote for what we wanted. There, what you need to do, you will get a placard. Simply raise your placard. Chairperson will say, all those who want to eat pizza for dinner today, raise your placard. Those delegates would raise their placard. All those who do not want to eat pizza today, please raise your placard. Those people will raise their placard. For everything in the committee, the same process will essentially transpire. This, my friends, is what you call the process of informal voting. The process of informal voting, it ensures that everybody is fair, everybody is equal, and whichever country or portfolio you've been allocated should not impact the results of your performance in the conference. Now, when it comes to formal voting, I will explain to you, when after I explain to you resolution, that I will explain to you as well, of course. But point number 7 for now I will skip, because formal voting will come at the end of your committee during the time of your resolution. With this, my dear friends, we will stop today's session. Okay. This session is pre-recorded. All right. What we have covered today in the first half of the session, I have given a structure, a format, and a list of to-do things to do for your preparation as a delegate, be it your first time or an experienced delegate. Please re-watch the video from the start to have those details once again. If you have not made notes, the video on the same link will be available. The second thing, the second thing is, today we have completed rule number 1 to rule number 6 in terms of the rules of procedure. Tomorrow we will complete throughout the entire session. Rule 8 to rule 25 will be covered at length in tomorrow's training session, and on our third session, through the chat box, whatever doubts you all have, I'm sure you all will still have questions. So the third session, whatever questions you have, you will put it in the chat box and I will purely address those questions. I will not explain anything. So today, like I said, I have given you a set of things to do for your preparation over the next 2-3 days. That's in the first half of the video. And I've given you a detailed explanation of point 1 to 7 in the rules of procedure. Tomorrow, we will complete the rules of procedure. And on the third day, you will ask me questions and we will start solving the queries that you have. That being said, once again, thank you to all the wonderful students, delegates, parents, teachers, principals, and managements of all the wonderful institutions part of Hearts MUN. And once again, welcome you all to the Hearts MUN family, and see you all once again tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. as we take the rules of procedure forward. I hope this session was beneficial to all of you. God bless you all, and Nandri.